Welcome to the Desire to Dream podcast. I'm your host, Lo Wilder. The vision of this podcast is to provide tools on how to become successful in your finances, business, leadership development, and much more. A little bit about me: I grew up in the hood, homeless at the age of 14. I made a choice not to become a product of my environment. And today, I am a successful businessman, community leader, and inspirational speaker. It is my desire to encourage and empower you to unlock your greatness. So tune in and enjoy the show. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Desire to Dream podcast. I'm your host, Lo Wilder. Man, I'm excited. You guys have been with me for 28 weeks, man. So congratulations to you who've been listening through and through for each episode. Today, I have a special guest, right? As always. But this one is real special, man. It's one of my sisters, one of my accountability partners from the Breathe University with Dr. Eric Thomas. I got my sister, Carmen Rozier. Carmen, what is good, sis?
What's happening? This is exciting. Thank you. This is an honor to be on the Desire to Dream podcast. Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, look, man, we've been talking about it, right, since the beginning, because you was there when I was planning for the podcast. Q1 go, released my podcast April 5th, 2022. And you were right along, helping me, holding me accountable. So definitely appreciate it. And we've tried to lock this episode in, but God's timing, right? I mean, we just came fresh out of the 120 live conference in Chicago, Illinois. Let's talk a little bit about that experience, man, and what you got from it.
That was an amazing experience. But for me, it was a little bit different than the first time. I came with a servant's heart because, like you said, we met in the Breathe University community. And we can't even put words on to what we receive from that community. It is a constant pouring in. And because my life is so different and so recognizable from the last conference that we had, the last 120, I'm like, what can I do to serve? What can I do to give back? So as I'm being poured into, even at the conference, and listening to all the excellence and all the people and all the high energy in the room, I just wanted to be able to serve and give back because this is a movement. The ETA community is changing lives and my family is benefiting from it. So what I got from it this time is wow. Like, it's really, those are my words. Wow. It's a powerful thing to be a part of, to see, you see the book back here, UOU, to be announced that, ET, Dr. Eric Thomas, the person who has created this platform for us, became a New York Times bestseller. When you are in the room of excellence, where people are setting goals, achieving goals, and executing on those goals, you are in the right place at the right time with the right people. So you cannot go wrong with helping another person's cup be full when they're pouring back into you. It's a win-win situation. So that's what I got from the 120.
Most definitely, man. And we both went with servant hearts. I brought the camera to kind of capture the moments. Got you on there as well, man. You're just so energetic. You're vibrant, and you're so full of life. But it was a journey. Right. I mean, it wasn't always there. A few years back, you wrote a book and I was glad to support that as well. And phenomenal book. So you're an author. That wasn't easy, but kind of tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your past, and and we can go into where this book was birthed and why you wrote it.
Absolutely. When we talk about the journey, I'm still on the journey. This is about being a dreamer and having something that you want better for yourself. I feel called. So everything that I do comes from an inner voice that was given to me many years ago. Coming through, you tell your story of being, homeless. I went through a homeless experience because I had a very severely abusive childhood. And it's not the way that a lot of people would see it. My family is huge on mass. We can dress up our mess really well. So although, I was termed gifted and talented and I had a lot of accomplishments, I've been constantly persevering. I come from a 2-parent household, but it was a broken household at the very beginning. I was born in 75. By the time 1976 came around, my mom was on her second husband. My father passed away when I was 3 years old. So I've constantly been on this journey of self-discovery and finding myself. And what I like to say is digging myself from the inside out, because I know that there's a voice that has been tried to be quieted. And everything that I go through is just about persevering through whatever the obstacle and adversity is, and finding out who is Carmen. And, you hear me talk about myself in third person. You got Carmen Jones. That's the young lady who I have to go back and rescue and remind her we're not that hurt, abandoned, rejected, broken down girl that was put down, that was bullied, that was abused. I've overcome sexual abuse. I've just overcome my voice being quieted. And I wanted to make sure that I show people, whether ready or not, pursue your voice. Go ahead and put yourself out there and find yourself on the path. But healing is the core of what I do.
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything without getting to the center of yourself. And sometimes you need a little guidance with that, especially when you've been cut as much as I have. You got to take that time.
No, for sure. And the thing is, it's very interesting, and we could talk about the UOU book, and ET talks about that, this victim mindset that we have. And I think that, and I experienced it too, because of the trauma, because of all of the adversity that I faced, right? You begin to feel like a victim. And so how did you get, because it's mental toughness, but also, like you said, sometimes you need some help. And we've had mental health counselors here on this platform. We've had other individuals who's gone through that process. I'm a huge advocate for it. I know you are as well. But how do one person get from, because here's the connection, but how does one person get from this broken place, right, this victim mindset, to achieving their dreams and goals? Because there is a connection, as you said, you just highlighted. I don't want to miss that. For y'all listening right now, if you're a dreamer, if there's something a business, something that you want to start, you have to understand that if you're broken inside, that's going to show up in your business. It's going to show up in your dreams, and you're not going to be able to reach them dreams or that business if you can't get healed. So we need to highlight that and talk a little bit more about that process and what that actually looked like for you.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's an ongoing process. The number one thing is to understand the origin of your being. When I say that there's always been an inner voice, I have a concrete faith and belief that I was created with an infinite design and purpose, meaning I didn't come here broken. Life chipped away and began to break in me. And if you really, have a know of spiritual warfare, I believe that when there is a calling, if you are quote unquote a chosen one, the greater the adversity, the greater that you have to overcome.
Yeah, the greater the call.
So the enemy wants me to tap out and say, you know what, I give up. And when I go and consider my life, there's so many times, but you got to know that the origin of your being is that you are whole, and finding your way back to that. So you have to have a spiritual faith. You have to have a grounding in your knowing and relationship with God, whoever that is to you. I came to know God through Jesus Christ, the ministry of Jesus. I love Jesus. I love the story. I love his ministry and how he overcome. And he said greater things will we do, because he leaves us to help. So we have this spirit. And then you have in this community and hearing. Faith come by hearing and hearing by the word of God, and hearing it repetitiously and constantly. So I've always known that I'm greater than this. I've just always known that, even as a little girl, why is this happening to me? And then you get that victim mentality of why. And you tend to still do it as an adult. But the great thing about this community and even reading that book is if you take ownership in every way that you participate and show up, you can't necessarily go back and say that things happen to you as a child, but how you choose to respond to it. And you have to have a clear vision of who you desire to be, where you desire to go. And that's your roadmap, that's your mind. And then just mapping out a plan and walking that thing out. And I have not been able to do that without help, without community, without being transparent and authentic and being able to say, this is what's going on with me and I need help. And I'm still able to say that today in our community.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, hands down, I've experienced it, and I love the authenticity of yourself. Like, you're so authentic, but also transparent and I think that's a key that someone needs to take away, because my wife is a licensed mental health counselor. And the thing about suffering in silence, a lot of people are suffering in silence. They put on the mask, they go to work, they act like everything's cool, but deep down inside, they're going through this battle, right? And they don't want to cry out for help. So look, if you're going through something, and you don't feel it, there's somebody out there for you, or there's some community that is out there for you. Shoot, join Breathe University. There's non-judgmental zone. We do not judge. There's people that I'm talking about, like, from all facets of life, and we've poured into this community, and it's amazing to be a part of it. And I'm a part of, the King's Accountability Group as well. And both of these groups bring something different, that is helping me. And so, yeah, I love it, man. And I love the fact that you know that it's not. So look, for dreamers, all right, the journey never stops. The process never stops. It keeps on going. Like, you're never going to, like, arrive and be like, my dreams. Yes, you want your dreams to become a reality, but the thing about it is you will continue to dream about more, because the greater the exposure, the greater the goals get.
But in that's the thing. Sometimes the adversity that you have to overcome is yourself. You have to, in my case, I have to remove me out of the way, because we can hear the voices of our past. We can hear, you have to work on yourself. Yourself will block you from your dreams. I like to say that, and we are where we are as we're supposed to be. We always say I'm behind the 8 ball. And I believe on my journey, I used to say I should have been here a long time ago. In hindsight, when I look back retrospectively, everything that I've gone through, I went through, and we'll talk about that. That's a part of the book, a marriage for 20 years. But that season was a reflection on how I identified and viewed myself. See, when you go through things, the things that you allow to happen to yourself are a direct reflection of how you see yourself. So the sooner that you can get you out of the way, the sooner that you can take ownership and accountability, which is the hardest thing to do. We're good at looking at the flaws on other people, but when you got to get in the mirror, and for women, we got to take that makeup off, take off the eyelashes, take everything off, and just look at you and get to the soul and the inner of you. That's when you'll be able to pull out what's inside, because you're removing all the clutter out of the way. So your obstacles can be building blocks, but they can also be hindrances. So you got to figure out how to turn those and make them work in your favor.
Man,
and
that's a bar.
That I've been able to do. Amen.
Man.
That's
Amen.
what I feel like I've been able to do.
Yes. Let's go. That's a bar, man. Hey, look, there's a great part, right? A great point for us right now to pivot into and transition to you writing this book, right? Inside of this book, you share your journey. I mean, you pour yourself out into this book. You've gone through stuff that's marriage, and you had to just release, right? So, kind of explain, like, the process in that as well. Like, we're obviously, the healing is a process, but in order for you to write this book, where were you at state of mind? But what did it do for you, as far as healing and being able to move forward from this broken place?
I'm so glad that you asked that question, because what I'd like for your listeners to know is that I wrote a book and I put myself out there while still in the process of healing. And that's a thing that you don't know. And when you don't know what you don't know, you don't know it. So what that book allowed me to do was to basically carve myself out of a mess that I had created in my mind. Okay. The book is called Till My Death Did We Part, The Life, Death, and Resurrection of a Family. And when I wrote that book, I found myself in a pandemic that we all went through, in quarantine with my ex-husband. Now, you have to read the book to find out how that even happened. But what it did, and I think God is so awesome in how he orchestrates things, is because I had not had closure in the area of my divorce. I had been separated. We had been apart for about 10 years when the pandemic had us in the same household.
Wow.
So when I say help, I'm quarantined with my ex. And what happened is it was an evolution of our relationship for the better part of 20 years. My husband and I had never had conversations. And so this is the actual time that we got to know each other. This is the time that we were able to go back and like we were watching, what's that? The comedy show that used to come on all the time. I don't know why.
Def Jam comedy show?
Def Jam.
Yeah,
Lord,
yeah.
Def Comedy Jam. We grew up as teenagers, and laughter is the best medicine. So
absolutely,
we bonded over that. But in reality, what was happening is I was just going back in retrospect and saying, there is a possibility that my family can be healed. And what I thought was one way of it happening was absolutely not what it was. See, sometimes when the door closes, it is to remain closed. And I was so, I believe, subconsciously hopeful that my family be whole, because it was important for me because of the upbringing that I have. Like I said, everyone in my family, I come from a family of marriages, but I'm also from a family of marriages that are not necessarily healthy. And so what that book just talks about, it just paints a picture of my life. But when we get to the end of that, sometimes the story just rests where it is. And that's where the book left, is that, my family is going to live happily ever after, and that there may have been a second wedding. Although there's not going to be a second wedding, there is a lot of healing that has come from that process. My ex-husband is found his way to counseling. He's coming up in 2 years of dealing with the things that I don't believe would have ever come to the forefront had it not been for that experience. And when you take steps forward and people see you do that, hurt people, but people who are healing, that's also contagious.
Absolutely.
So now what's happening is my family, and that's why I say being a part of this community has been helping with that process and allowing me to uncover and unpack, not necessarily maybe this, but this is the direction. You're going in the right direction. So if you're listening and you're dreaming, you're going to make some wrong turns, but you have to go ahead and continue to move forward. Don't stop. Just continue to move forward. And as I'm moving forward, it's still helpful because I understand, like our coach Candace in Game Changers, he mentioned, sometimes people's first book is nothing but therapy. So my first book was therapy. That was me working on myself, seeing myself from the perspective of the world and saying this story and this testimony can still help. This story and this testimony can still heal. And I know you hear me tell the story of when I jumped out of the plane. I knew what my story was, and I knew that I wanted to come to the world and help other people, but I had to face my own fears. You have to face your own fears. And for me, I had to be drastic. I had to be completely over the top, because I knew that in order for me to do what I wanted to do, I had to remove all fear, all doubt. And what better way to do that? Listening to Will Smith, jump. Just jump. Yeah. And allow yourself to be your own parachute. Show up for yourself. So sometimes you may look and say, I didn't show up the best way that I wanted to. I was actually, when I'm going through this last year of marketing, I did market the book. But when I started to realize that my book was not going in the direction of what I said, you'll hear some people, try to stick with some type of brand or marketing that they put out, and just, that's not what we're about, especially in this community. It is to thine own self be true, and owning your story and saying, you know what, that's not it. And I'm not going to try to keep a story together just to hold up face for the world. And I had done that for so long. When you remove yourself from other people's opinions, that is another step toward your success. You have to be true to yourself. You have to show up for yourself.
Facts. Listen, man, that's amazing. And another thing that, I want to kind of dive into that you were talking about. Yeah, the accountability group is amazing. The community is great for the support. But you mentioned Coach Candace, right? And so you have to invest in a coach, a mentor, someone that can actually help lead you. Like, you have the support team, but you need to be led. And a lot of people fail, right? 95% of you are going to fail because you don't have somebody that is coaching you, somebody that is mentor, someone in the area that you want to be in, help you. Carmen is an author. She's also a platform speaker, right? She goes out and she speaks. She speaks to women specifically, in all groups, right? But helps with the healing process, divorced women, right? How to overcome that, right? And she went and sought out coaching, and I'm sure at some point you probably didn't think, because I know for me, I'm like, man, I'm good. Like, I'm speaking to disadvantaged youth. I'm helping these kids are coming up to me, telling me how I'm impacting their lives. But then you step into Game Changers. Shout out to ET, CJ, Coach Candace, Coach Val, right? Because they like, what are you doing?
That's not it.
That ain't it.
That's actually what helped with the book journey.
Yeah.
It's almost like, you put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
And so I had this story and I had to get it out, but I have a lot of stories. And so what they helped me to do is to reorganize, rebrand, restructure, not have you out here any kind of way. That's what I love about everything about this community is the excellence.
Yeah.
They want you to be branded, not just so you can have a business or, they want you to be able to go forth and help the world. And I'm here, I'm saying right now, that is why I believe that Eric Thomas will get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Let's
I'm
go.
saying it's recorded, because not only does he do what he does, there's no blinders. He shows up and he helps hundreds of people to do the exact same thing. When you can duplicate yourself in excellence and from integrity and from a good place of helping and serving other people. Like, I'm reading a book right now, See You at the Top, Zig Ziglar. And it says, when you help other people get what they need, you'll always get what you need.
Yes.
But it's always about a servant's heart. It's about serving other people. And everything that I've been doing in searching for my purpose is helping other people. Get the focus off myself, because I don't show up for other people because I'm so focused on what I'm dealing with. So now it's like, this is what you've already overcome. And this is what they teach us. When you can serve the person that you were, and since I'm ever evolving, I can go back and help the woman that I was 10 years ago. So yes, I do help and serve divorced women who have had experienced trauma of divorce. But then in 10 more years, there may be another audience of people. I'm here for everybody. I serve the community for little girls. Why? Because I was a damaged, broken little brown girl, and I know what that looks like. No matter how you dress it up, I know what that looks like, and I can go back and serve that.
Yeah, man, that's fire. And I want to find a quote from Rory Vaden. He had talked about,
wow, he was,
man, he killed it. He killed it. But he was,
the people you were exposed to in this, it's like,
yeah. Oh man, I hope I find it. But he was talking about, and I can't, I gotta look at my notes. I don't want to hold y'all up, but he basically,
no, but I think I know what you're saying. He's
you talking about when he says you serve the older you, like the older version of yourself.
Go back and serve the person that you were. That's your audience. Those are your people.
That's your people,
and we're not here. See, that's the thing. And we're so self-absorbed as a people. I don't know if we're just wired that way as humans, but we're here to serve other people.
Yeah.
You put the oxygen mask on yourself first, but once you get in that good air, oh wait, how can I go help somebody else with this? Like, somebody else needs to get some of this.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else needs to be free. And that's why and that's the scripture that jumps out for me, is the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to go help the captive, to help them, because it's a dark, lonely place.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to be in that dark, lonely place of hopelessness, but there's hope. That's all I want you to know. There's hope. If you can dream, you can hope. Your very worst day, and because we're in this fourth quarter, I'll go ahead and throw it out there, shameless plug for my event, Believing in Better, is that on your worst day, you gotta know that there's the way this is set up, there's an opposite for that. There's a polar opposite. On your worst day, there's the best day coming.
Yeah.
What do you need to do? Hold on for it. Be there for it. Just be there. And how do you be there? You gotta affirm. You gotta connect. There's so much to do. We can't squeeze it into this podcast, but believe in better for yourself. Tap into a system of support. Invest in yourself when you're growing, and definitely have that accountability and get the focus off of yourself. It is not all about you.
Right.
It is about others. You always see yourself to be the best version of you, but it's not for you. It's for others.
For everybody else, man. It's like a fruit tree. You know what I mean? Like, you're there to be able to be picked at, not picked on, but picked at, so that you can help nurture other people, man. So I love that. I love what you're doing. Speaking of your upcoming workshop, you were going to have a virtual, but now you're opening up. So it's in Michigan, right?
No, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland. Oh my goodness. My bad. I'm thinking we're talking about ET so much. I'm thinking about Detroit. And but yeah, so you're in Cleveland, Ohio, right? Is it gonna
Buckeye State. Go Buckeyes.
Go Buckeyes, yeah. So are you gonna have it virtual opportunity for people to watch online?
There is going to be a virtual opportunity because I don't want anyone to be left out. There will be some Facebook Lives, some Instagram Lives, so you can tune in to my Instagram, Coach Carmen Rozier. That is it, Coach Carmen Rozier. That's it on your Instagram.
Yeah, and so and what can they expect from this event?
you can expect to come in one way and leave another, because if you're not transformed, then what was the purpose? But I focus on three things: rediscover, recreating, and redesigning your life. You want to rediscover who you are from the inside out. And like I said, I believe that everyone came here with an original blueprint. You got to get back to who that person is. And then recreate, design an image of what you want your life to be. So there's going to be other people involved with me on vision boarding and, just visualizing, because for lack of vision, the people perish. Mm-hmm. So you want to have vision. Where are you going? And once you decide what that is in your mind, the redesign. Now, how are we going to walk this thing out? How are we going to execute? How are we going to move forward? And that is the outward expression of what you recreated in your mind. And that's how do you manifest. So hopefully when people come in one way, they can leave out understanding that wherever you are in life, no matter how broke, busted, and disgusted, no matter how, desolate the situation may seem, believe in better, because that is all you need to do in order to just have faith. Believe in better, believe in yourself, believe in higher power. You can't do anything without belief. So that's what I want people to do.
Hey, October 22nd, y'all, we're going to have the link or more information where you can find more information on it. It's going to be coming out this week. So definitely lock in, go join the event. Man, Carmen, I appreciate you. I was thinking about the advice you gave me when I was entering into the Game Changers, and you were like, be open for coaching. Right. Be open for coaching. And that's what I want to share with the audience. The tip that you gave me, be open. So if you're going to this event, whether it's in person or virtually, be open for the change. If you're closed, a closed mouth ain't never going to get fed. So you need to be open so that individuals can pour into you so you can actually receive it. Then you need to have the spirit to contain it. And like she said, redesign, whatever work you have to do, work it out within. I love it. I love what you're doing. That's why I wanted you on this podcast to, just give you your flowers, man. You're my sister. Definitely appreciate you and everything that you do. I look forward to continually growing with you. And I look forward to when we share a stage together. And we can make.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have to give it back to you. I have to. You mentioned something about your podcast being birthed in April. I joined BU in January. Your excellence and the way you carry yourself had me thinking that you already had a podcast and it was out and it was done, because you were able to help me. And that's the one thing about this, is that you have that thing down pat. You helped me while you were still building your own. And this community is phenomenal. I have to give it back to you. I appreciate your support, everything that you do, how you love your wife, how you love your son, how you put your family first. This man, support him. You are stand up. You embody everything about your brand and desire to dream. I watch you execute your goals and manifest things on a daily. So I'm just honored to be on your platform and your podcast. So
definitely.
Your flowers to you.
Man, definitely appreciate that. I really do. And also, I almost forgot, your podcast is out as well. So definitely go out, support the podcast. We're going to have the link in all of the descriptions. Support my sister. Go get her book. You can find it on Amazon. You can order it straight through your website. I believe that's how I bought mine, right? Is it on Amazon?
That week, because I've rebranded. So not that website. So you won't be able to get it on the website, but you can definitely get it on Amazon. It is on Amazon.
Okay, cool.
And I found it on a couple of other websites in other countries, but in America, it's on Amazon.
And listen, y'all, look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When you get the book, I don't know if she's still rebranding the package, but you get a lot of goodies with it too. So definitely go support my sister, man. And in fact, if you write a comment on this, I'm willing to match the book. So again, in supporting others, right? If you want to buy the book and you say, Lauren, I'm gonna get my copy of a book, I'll buy another copy so I can send to someone else as well. So go out there, support my sister. Carmen, thank you very, very much. Desire to dream, y'all. Dream, believe, execute. Let's go out there, be great, be phenomenal, be authentic, and be yourself. Hey, you owe you. You know what I mean? So let's get it. Thank you so much. God bless y'all.